I'm Charles Helpinstill, and I'm going to show you how the Helpinstill piano sensor works on a grand piano. Here are the parts that come with it. These are the actual pickup element strips here that we're going to mount in the piano. First thing we're going to do is put one down here in the bass side of the piano, right across here. We're going to pick out one of these. This is a 5-foot Yamaha C1 piano, but the installation is basically the same on any grand piano. First thing we do is place this one on here. See, these are magnets, so they attract to each other, and you're ready to place this across the strings like this. Now, these wing nuts here allow you to set the height so that we have it hanging over the strings, but not touching the strings. So we're going to change this a little bit. The placement of the pickup in the bass end is not all that critical, but it's important, of course, that it not touch the strings. Of course, if it touches the strings, it's going to buzz, and that's not going to work. But in the low end of the piano, we try to get the pickup over the strings as close as possible without touching. The ideal length from the end of the string is about 1/6 or 1/7 of the total string length. Okay, I think we've about got this where it's going to be close but not touching. Each of these pickups has a wire on it that we're going to plug into this control box here. This is a passive mixer. Now the next part is we're going to take the longest one of these strips, place it on this silver support bar. Once again, since it's a magnet, it sticks there automatically. We're going to slide it in from this side of the piano. It rests directly on the sounding board on these padded feet. It's just a matter of sticking it over here like this. We're going to kind of push it under here and give it a good shove, get as far under there as we can. Now we're going to use the screwdriver that came with the kit. Just kind of work this along and get it as far over to the high end as we can. Sometimes when people are putting these things in this area, they'll come in this way and they'll run into these strings. This area here is the area in which the strings are further away from the sounding board. The sounding board of the piano is like a dome with its peak in this area here. So as long as you work around that dome, then you're away from the closeness to the strings. Okay, we're going to slide this into place until the very top of the pickup is picking up the highest notes. We're almost there. Almost got it here. Now these silver bars have screws here with slots in the top, so by sticking down through the strings, we can change the height of this bar and therefore how close the pickup is to the strings. But first we're going to get in approximately the right place. We're just about done here. And we're going to check here and make sure that it's, the very highest notes need to be about 1/8 of an inch away from the strings. Those strings hardly move at all when they're being played, so it can be very close. If you get it too close, it's going to be too loud. The closer the pickup is to the strings, the louder the notes. What we're trying to achieve here is to have every note be exactly the same volume as you play up and down the piano. Letting this one down a little bit. Okay, so that one's pretty much in place. Now finally we'll take this last one and we'll put it across the middle section. Same deal. Put it on that silver bar. Stick it in from the side here. Fairly close. Ease it along with the screwdriver here. This pickup in the middle of the piano is the one in which you're going to notice the most difference in the way the piano sounds according to where it is in the piano. As you move the pickup along the strings this way, as it gets closer to the middle of the string, the tone will change dramatically and contain more of the fundamental note. Whereas you get near the end of the strings, contains more of the harmonics. The ideal place for this pickup is probably about an inch away from these dampers. These black things that raise up and down when you push a note down, those are called dampers. So we're going to place this about an inch and a half away from the end of the strings where they go into the dampers. Let this down. I'm kind of using this screwdriver to kind of check how far away they are from the strings. I think that one's probably a little bit too close. Now, you can see this note here is the last one that's being picked up by this strip. This one is the first one being picked up by this strip. So even though it looks like they're overlapping a little bit, actually this note is only picked up by this one, since it crosses here, and this one is picked up by this one. So now we have a situation where there's a definite change from here to here. Now we just take these three wires, plug them into the control box. See, the control box has three inputs that correspond to the high, middle, and low knobs here. This one is the one from the middle. We'll plug it in there. Here's the one from the highest section. We'll plug it in here. Finally, we'll bring this one around. That's for the low notes. Okay, at this point, the pickup is basically installed. Make sure these wires are over here out of the way so they're not touching any strings. The next step to finalizing this installation would be plug this into a sound system and make sure each of the sections comes out at the same volume. We're not going to do that today because we're not going to plug it into a sound system at all. But here is the output that corresponds to a mic level signal. It's an XLR output. Plug your mic cable into there, plug it in the sound system. On the other side we have a 1/4 inch jack that corresponds to a guitar level, instrument level type signal. You can use either one of those or both at the same time if you want to. So the pickup is definitely in here, it's in the right place, it's ready to go. Only by plugging into a sound system would you decide that maybe one of the pickups was louder than the others, in which case you would turn that knob down a little bit. This pickup control box is not powered, doesn't have any batteries in it, it doesn't use phantom power, and as a result you want to keep these knobs turned at their maximum volume all the time, unless one of them is too loud, in which case you would turn it down. Generally the bass region is the quietest because the copper windings on those strings don't generate any signal in the pickup. Only the steel core string generates the signal, where the others are completely steel, and so they have much greater energy transferred through the pickup. So what you usually end up with is this one all the way up, this one turning down a little bit, this one turning down a little bit, and you're ready to go. Now once the pickup's on the piano, it offers you a lot of advantages. One, the pickup doesn't know whether the lid of the piano is open or closed. So that gives you a lot of flexibility in how you want the piano to appear in the performance. The pickup doesn't actually hear sound waves. It only senses the movement of the strings. This turns out to be exactly what the piano sounds like. But the advantage of not sensing any airwaves means it can never feed back, and it can't hear any other instruments around the piano. You could put a drum set right by the piano, none of that will come through the pickup. Put a bass guitar right here, doesn't matter, it won't hear it. At the same time, it does sense all of the sound of the piano, the strings, as well as the soundboard. These two pickups that are resting on the soundboard generate just a smidgen, a little bit of sounding board signal to kind of warm it up a little bit and give you that wooden sound that we think of as the acoustic piano sound.